Hi guys, welcome back to the Bull Talks with Big Jim podcast.
Guess what, motherfucker?
Some of the information you are about to hear, some may find disturbing.
I don't know who gave them this or who gave them the clearance. On the crotch.
Oh my
Right
lord.
there.
Can we Google that?
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then I fucking stumbled down a dark hole and I love it.
Great keg parties. You know, if I'm going to believe anybody's bullshit, I'm going to believe mine.
It sounds not politically correct, but
You two motherfuckers need Jesus.
With spooky season upon us, I felt that this story would be a good fit, and it doesn't happen on Halloween or in October. However, the face paint that you're seeing me with, or if you're just listening to this, I have face paint on, and the characters and their names check all of these boxes. Today, we travel back in time to the mid-90s.
As you can see, I have a black mask on. I don't have black paint. So black metal bands were reaching up from the depths of hell with white face paint, black hair, and guttural roars. And one band being the center of it all, with their smash hit songs, Necrolust, Rape Humanity with Pride, and Chainsaw Gut Fuck. Nice. Those are top 10 Casey Kasem songs.
Yeah. Not only that, but being a Satanist was a quote requirement to be a fan. Their stage performances were loud, untamed, and violent.
A string of arsons, a suicide, and a murder shrouds the band to this day. Let's talk about the black metal band called
Mayhem. Everyone who is watching and or listening, we have two guests with us today. We have Molly and Cody. And for those who have not seen our faces in some time, it's been over a month since we first last recorded. But we have, like I said, Molly and Cody of Over the Fence podcast. Ladies, how are you doing today?
We're doing good.
Happy to be here.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on. Actually,
Thanks.
I was anticipating this episode for a while.
I feel like it's a long time coming. To collab with you guys because you guys are our neighbors. We don't live far from each other.
Yeah.
No,
we
you
really
and
don't.
I are. You and I are about 30 miles apart.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah. The distance.
And I'm over in
But
San,
you guys
San Joaquin
actually
County now.
Okay. Oh, so you moved.
I
over.
moved.
Okay.
I moved.
You know who else moved? She moved.
She did.
Yeah. You know, she
that's
moved. She
true.
ruined it.
Yeah.
She moved first.
But I
okay?
moved down the
Just because
street.
she moved down the street
Down the street.
doesn't mean she didn't do it first.
You can still see my house from your house.
You could. Yeah. Yeah. I just moved too. So everyone's moving. Everyone's moving.
Everyone's
It
moving.
has to happen. We'll be
Well,
out toward
you
him
are-
later.
Before you moved, you were really close to us. I mean, like 15 minutes down the road. So
Yeah. I was in Concord, Bay Point area.
Yeah.
I was literally a hop. What is it? A hop, skip, and a jump.
Yep.
Which is crazy. Yeah. I don't even know how we like found each other in the Instagram podcasting world, but all of a sudden we're like, oh, wait a minute. We like live like really close to each other.
Yeah.
Likewise.
He told me about your guys' pod. He's like, Dad, there's someone who just did the Doodler. And I'm like, who?
That's what it was.
And I'm like, who? Yeah, it was the Doodler. We just did ours. And he's like, you got to listen to him. And I was like, man, all right, I'll listen to him.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I got jealous. You
Yeah.
guys sound 100% better than I was like,
Yeah.
They're so much better than. And ever since then, I just kept listening.
Yeah.
That's
that was
what.
a
and
good
then-
one. Yeah. I remember
was a
finding that
great
case and be
one.
like, how had I never heard about that case?
Ever.
Like, ever.
Same with us.
Yeah.
Or the
And my
machete
mom
killer.
had lived in the city at that time, like in the Castro district, and she didn't even know anything about it. So it was crazy. It was weird. I was just like, wow, this is,
Or the
Anyway,
machete
so-
killer, the one from Yuba
Yes.
City. You guys did that one.
Mm-hmm.
Him and I did that recently, and I was talking to him about it. And if you really think about it, if you look at the Doodler and you look at the picture of Mr. Hernandez, there's a slight resemblance that could be his brother, because they never found his brother's body. Do you remember that?
Right,
recall
absolutely, yeah.
that? And he was LGBTQ.
Mhm.
So he could have been in that community at
Doing
that
that.
after
Yeah.
time.
And it was at
doing
that same
So,
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So-
Ooh,
from
you're
what-
onto something.
right. And from what he was
Yeah.
telling me too, is that he was if I'm not mistaken, they were a bit darker complexed.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Mhm.
Duder,
Yeah.
the Duder,
The
the
Doodler.
the Doodler was what according to the eyewitness accounts was a dark skinned person.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Right.
And everyone
Could be a
probably
dark.
kind of went to, oh, I assume he's, African American, but it could have just
Right.
been, a dark Hispanic guy.
Right.
Who
Could be
knows?
dark
Exactly.
Mexican. Exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, that's how I came across your guys'
Oh,
show.
my
He
dog
turned
just
me
got
on.
in. Hold on.
Oh, that's all right.
We have an
Okay.
animal
okay.
on the loose.
No worries.
That's the mascot.
It's
Yeah.
funny. It's funny watching you chase her with the Maleficent
Sorry,
horns on, though. So the case that I'm talking about today, it culminates on Halloween 2012 when a 24-year-old single mom goes missing from a small town in Michigan. But the events leading up to this woman going missing began decades earlier in 1980. And spoiler alert, what happens to her? It was entirely avoidable. We're going to rewind to 1980, still in Michigan, but in a town about 60 miles away, Battle Creek. A 22-year-old man named John White had completed his time in the Navy, and I don't know what his discharge status was, but he was done with his time in the Navy, and he was married and working as a long-haul truck driver. Not much further is published or known of John White prior to this year other than his time in the Navy, but this is where his first major mark on police's radar is made. He invites a 17-year-old girl named Teresa. Now, news articles publish her name as Teresa Etherton, but in the Discovery Plus episode I watched on this, they refer to her as Teresa Morris. According to this episode, she ends up at his door on accident. I don't know if she was searching for a friend, and she talks to him. And I don't know if she thought she was at the right house and that it was just someone living with her, like, hey, living with that person, like, hey, come in, or if she was just willing to go with this man. But he was like, hey, I have great stock car race track in my basement, and I'd like to show it to you. So she agrees to go.
Wait, a stock car race track?
Yeah, like the
In
little
the
I had-
basement.
yeah. No, not the control. They're like almost like the die-cast cars, but he could build like his own little personal racetrack
Yeah, so
for
he had a
them.
Okay.
racetrack in his basement.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ah.
So like Hot
said-
Wheels.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Got
and,
it. Okay.
And like slot cars almost, but there it
Okay.
was called, yeah. So
Got it.
she agreed to
If
go.
he was able to pull a girl in his basement with a slot
what I
car
was just
line,
thinking.
I blew a lot. I didn't have
it wouldn't personally entice me.
I was gonna say that wouldn't be something I'd be like, yeah, let's go check it out in your basement.
Maybe if I was 5.
I got a
Like-
station wagon with some flames on. You want to come check that out real quick?
So as soon as she goes in there, and again, maybe she thought that she was at the right house and this was a roommate or something. I'm not sure of the specifics of that, but she goes with him, and she said immediately when she gets to the basement, she has chills going up her spine, and he immediately attacks her out of nowhere, and he chokes her and ends up stabbing her 15 times, and she's
Out of
able to
nowhere?
survive the attack.
Just out of nowhere. He just
Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. Yeah, the second she gets down there,
This is
she
why
didn't even have a chance to run.
don't go into a basement with a stranger
Just no, yeah.
Oh, that's why I don't go into basements at all.
at all.
That's why I was like, we live in
know.
California. I'm
don't have
used to
basements.
basements, so and I'm good with that.
Yeah, my grandparents are from North Carolina. I'd go there and they had a basement. It was always creepy as
Yeah,
like so
It-
creepy. I hated going down in their basement. Hated it.
they're always questionable, especially with a man
Very.
asking you to look at his cars,
Yeah.
his tiny cars.
Come look at my small race cars in my basement.
No, thank you. So, she is able to survive this attack, and
Wow.
she reports to police that while
That's
he was
wild.
choking her, he says to her, "You're going to go now. I'm really sorry you had to go like this, but you're nothing but a fucking woman."
Oh,
Whoa.
Not sure what that is supposed to
Wow.
mean.
Okay. He seems to have an issue with women.
Mhm.
a little bit, doesn't he?
Wow.
Each of her stab wounds were 6.5 inches deep. And she recalls on the documentary that while she's being stabbed, she's like, so this is what this feels like. That's what
Being
being stabbed
stabbed.
feels like.
Are you serious?
Mhm.
And she was stabbed 15 times.
15
and
times
survived.
in the back and in the front.
Wow.
And he attempted to slice her throat, but I guess she put her head down and tried to pray, and he ended up cutting her chin.
Oh.
But I believe this was his first attack because he's so messy with it, and he leaves her there.
I'm getting the chills over there.
I
And,
am.
he leaves her there, and she says to herself, I just want to go to sleep. I want this to all be over. So at this point, I think she's succumbing to what she thinks going to be death.
Right.
But a neighbor hears the screams and calls the police.
Okay.
And the police come, and John White is arrested. He is sentenced for 5 to 10 years.
What?
Really?
That's it.
5 to 10 years.
For stabbing
Why?
someone 15 times?
I have no idea. But during his time in prison, while he goes there, he tells the prison psychologist that he fantasizes about killing the female prosecutor that just put him in jail and then having sex with her body. And the prison staff know he's a very sick individual, but I don't know if they didn't tell the right parties or it just didn't get relayed to whoever, but he files an appeal. And the appeal is that his defense attorney didn't provide proper defense because they didn't try to claim insanity. Wow. So the judge revokes his sentence and he is released after 2 years in prison.
What?
Wow, way to go, Michigan.
Yeah. And but I mean, he's released with mandatory mental health treatment. So
Well,
I mean,
But does he actually go is the question.
and you know what? There's nothing to say that he did because he relocates. But
Oh my God.
no one tells Teresa that he's being released. And the court had told her, don't worry about him. He'll never hurt anyone else again.
What?
They don't tell her that he's been released. She finds out when she's in a store one day and hears a voice that sends chills down her spine. And he's in the same store as her.
Like
Shut.
he's shopping in the same store.
Yes. And I don't know if he didn't see her or didn't recognize her, but that's how she finds out.
Wow.
Can you imagine how traumatizing that is to recognize just an audible
Ooh.
from a distance from your past, and just to hear that and then just get sick? Yeah.
And it was 2 years later. It's not like she's 20 years down the road, like, hey, I've gone through all that, but she's still working through it. She's probably still like suffering from the physical damages that were caused.
Yeah.
So after his release, he moves to Kalamazoo, Michigan, where he is living as a married man. And I don't know if this is the same wife as he was with in his prior attack or a new wife. I'm kind of leaning to it maybe the same wife because at this point he has 2 kids and another one on the way.
Holy
Wow.
shit.
It's always surprising to me how many of these guys end up getting married or are married that like commit like awful crimes or release. Like we've had that before where you're like, oh, they had a wife? Like,
Right.
wow.
And I
Okay.
you attack someone in our basement. Cool.
Yeah.
15 times we stabbed her. Let's get married.
That's not
Yeah.
bad. It's not bad.
Do you think they know? Do you think they know?
I don't know.
I have no idea. Like I said, I don't know if it's the same one or if it's kind of one of those prison groupies, but at this point, he, has another wife and 2 kids and and she's pregnant again, and he has a girlfriend.
Oh.
A 26-year-old
This
named
guy
Vicky
is
Wall.
insane.
And he's nothing that would be like, oh yeah, I could see how he could swing multiple women with being crazy. Like they just, regardless of him being crazy, he's not a looker.
Yeah,
What does he look like? What does he look like?
Pockmarked, bulbous nose.
No
Yeah.
way.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that racetrack has some pool, let me tell you.
You guys need to get a girl. Now you know what to do.
Yes.
I'm gonna start buying Hot Wheels.
Right.
Sorry, I lost my place. But his girlfriend, Vicky Wall. And this is in the early 1990s. And I don't know much about what happened between the time that he's released in 83 and 1994 in July, but there's nothing to show that he had any further criminal activity during this time. He stayed off the radar. And he was, by all accounts, liked by those people in this whole new world that he's created. Everyone's like, he's super helpful. He's a great neighbor, aside from the fact that he's having an affair on his wife, which I think the community kind of knew about because people that they interview are like, yeah, his girlfriend, Vicky. It was like, so I had to research that. I was like, was he having an affair? Was it his girlfriend? But no, it was just his open affair girlfriend, I guess.
That everyone knew about it and we're obviously cool.
Apparently he would take her around.
Okay.
So Vicky, in July of 1994, she goes missing. The last time she's seen on surveillance video is getting into John White's truck on July 11th, 1994. Now, this night, Vicky was meeting up with John at one of their normal meetup spots. I guess they would meet up behind a local grocery store. And she's seen getting into his vehicle behind this grocery store. Well, once she's in his truck on this night, he beats her and strangles her. And then once she's deceased, he drives to a remote area and dumps her body only after defiling it. That was the nicest way I could put it.
We can all imagine.
Yeah. Now, almost immediately after this attack, he checks himself into the Kalamazoo Regional Psychiatric Hospital. And he is still at this facility when Vicky's body is found in September of 1994. So I think it was like 6 to 8 weeks later that she was found. Now, when they locate Vicky's body, she has a turquoise colored t-shirt and a bra wrapped around her neck. And I imagine this is what was used to strangle her, even though I believe one article states it was a zip tie. I mean, there's no consistency regards to how she was strangled, but they believe that she was. But due to the state of decomposition of Vicky's body, they were unable to determine the actual cause of death. But I think the shirt and the bra around the neck would be a good indication.
Right.
I mean, they're like, we don't know how she died.
Yeah, she didn't die of freaking carbon monoxide poisoning, guys.
Right.
It wasn't natural causes. So they're like, nope, we don't know. We have no definitive answer on how she died.
Okay, that's weird.
And John White, he admits that he was having an affair with Vicky and admits to being with her that night, but he states that he dropped her off after they met up and that he doesn't know what happened to her after that. She was safe when he dropped her off.
Of course she was. Mm-hmm.
And then he refuses to talk further to police or to take a lie detector test. He ends up being arrested and charged with the murder of Vicky Wall. Now, originally the charge is murder, but he ends up taking a lower plea and pleading guilty to involuntary manslaughter. And he is sentenced to 13 years without parole, which again, 13 years.
After stabbing
it's because
already stabbing somebody and now being you said that they did charge him for this one, right?
Well, he was charged for murder, but he pled to involuntary manslaughter. And since they can't give a definitive on the cause of death, they can't actually go forward and charge him with the homicide.
I'm still shocked that they can't say how she died. Like, that's weird to me.
Yeah. I don't know.
Was he like a savvy dude? Like, was that his thing?
So she just described his look, so I don't know. He's probably got deep pockets with a lot of money.
That's what I'm saying.
Or he might have something on all the upper echelon of Kalamazoo, Michigan. Who knows?
Yeah,
Blackmail.
When I get into what happens after Vicky, he's got to have some kind of swag about him because you'll see what he does, and he's had to have something like some kind of mouthpiece on him that can get him further. Because you'll see what he ends up doing after this, because he's able to con a lot of people. So. And he serves his time in jail. Again, 13 years.
Okay.
Well, a little bit, almost 13 years. Almost. During his time in prison, he again admits to psychologists that he fantasizes about killing women and defiling their bodies after death. And no one seems overtly concerned to take this to the next level when he's telling them these things. And after serving his full sentence, which was 12 years because he was credited for good behavior, he's released.
Oh.
Wow.
And he is released with no requirement of mental health treatment, but it was strongly recommended.
There's something wrong. There's something wrong with our justice system. If like you can stab someone 15 times, serve 2 years, and then murder someone and serve 13 and then still get out and go on to live your life.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just insane to me.
Right.
I'm just picturing like the psychologist, like, so you said you wanted to stab them? He's good, guys. Go ahead.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Release him. Totally
completely
fine.
Reformed. He's doing great.
But you see that happen all the time in cases too, where like they say that these guys or women are totally fine and they go off to continue to do what they did before. It's crazy.
He's released in 2007, similar to when he was released before. He reinvents himself, and he ends up at a church in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, Christ Community Fellowship. They were in need of a pastor.
Ooh.
Shut up.
Nope.
He's going to be a pastor?
And they believed it was God that led him to their congregation. He admitted to the congregation that he had some trouble in the past and that he had done some time in prison. He explained that he was involved with a girl that was on drugs.
Some trouble?
Thank you.
Yeah.
What?
He was in some trouble because the girl he was with was on drugs and she died of an overdose, and he fled the scene because he was worried that he was going to get in trouble. He didn't know what else to do. So that is his explanation.
It's missing some key points in those stories.
A little bit.
That's not even a good bullet point of what happened. Not even close.
No.
But some of the congregants of the church, they're interviewed on this Discovery Plus episode. And one of them says, I mean, that could really happen to anybody.
No, it can't. No.
I mean, I would be shocked if it happened to me. I don't think it could happen to me.
No.
Yeah. I don't imagine them having such a big drug problem as we do today back in '07. So something
In
that
Mount Pleasant, Michigan, too.
yeah, anything east of California or east or south of New York, any of these big states, I don't see it happening. So yeah, he's got a silver tongue.
And they
Yeah.
said
For sure.
that the Lord led him to their congregation. That
Well,
was
they're
the-
like, look, this man has just kind of come and landed on our doorstep. Who cares if he's had troubles in the past? Actually,
Did he
his time
land
in
with a
prison-
blade this big too?
Oh my God.
Jeez.
From
The Lord said, bringeth the knife.
bring the knife.
They're like, that's fine. Everything's fine.
They
This is
obviously
fine.
had no background check, obviously.
No.
Nothing.
Well, this is a small congregation. It's not a huge church, but still. So they thought that if he is coming clean to them about his time in prison, that he must be telling the truth. So why would you come clean about time in prison if you're not really going to tell them the truth?
I'm sorry, I just need to stop. Where did that knife come from?
Oh, I gave it to him.
Yeah, technically
Is it
speaking,
real? Is
it's
that a
a
real
gift.
knife?
Oh yeah, this is a real knife. This,
Yeah.
this is a real blade.
Okay, there you go. You just
when
have
the-
it there
when
just
the-
in case.
I'm just saying.
Actually,
protect yourself.
when we had the riots last year,
Oh,
remember
yeah,
in Oakland? They came all from Oakland, which was to say epicenter of all that, and they ripped off every drugstore and
Yeah.
Costco from Oakland to there with their jewelry and medications.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had no protection, and the only reason why it kind of got to me was I have a Lucky's right behind me. They broke in there. It's in my backyard. So I'm not a prepper. I'm not like one of these survivalist crazy nut jobs, but I did subscribe to a website called When the Shit Hits the Fan website. So all it is, yeah, they have gas masks and then they have big knives, and you get the monthly subscription. And I wasn't expecting
It's
big
a
knife
monthly
like that.
subscription box.
It was, yes. It actually still exists.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. So I was like, $19, I can get some goofy shit, no problem. I got 3 knives like that.
Holy
I don't need them.
crap.
Yeah. After the third one, I was like, honey, I need to cancel. This is just
Don't
fucking
need a fourth
ridiculous.
knife.
No. So sorry to interrupt you, but that's where that came from.
Got it.
Simply a
No, it's like-
flamethrower.
I just had
Yeah.
to ask about that. It was just so random.
And I
Sorry.
don't know if we included it, but we had some
Oh.
talk on the side. My husband was giving her husband knives and we didn't know about
No,
it
no.
in between. And then he was like, well, where'd you get that knife? He's like, oh, he gave it to me.
Yeah,
and I was like,
Yeah.
when are you getting all of these
I
knives?
was like, yeah, he just left it on the door. When he told me he was at the doorstep, I was like, you just went and picked up a knife off the doorstep?
He's giving him 2, right?
Two, yeah,
2.
twice they did this. I'm like, okay.
Just for the hell of it, or protection.
Her husband has a plethora of knives, and
Apparently he didn't need it, which I didn't know, which is terrifying. What do you know? So they believe it's, kind of divine intervention that he's landed there and that he did his time in prison because it was during his prison time that he became a pastor and he studied to be a pastor. So like, well, God put him in jail to become a pastor. And now he's here to be our pastor. So this, the church only had about 14 or so members, which I don't understand. Like that's not a lot of
is
people.
that even a church?
That-
14 people?
I don't know. That's like
It's like
That's
a
a
click.
group of people hanging out talking about God.
that's
I
like
don't know if
me
that's a
and
church.
that's like me and your family getting together. I feel it was like it's like 14 people.
Yeah.
Right. It's a Sunday cookout.
Yeah. So
Right.
it's very small, but this is a very teeny town. So while in his pastoral role at this church, he meets his new love interest, Sally
Oh my
Gay.
god.
Now, Sally is a Sunday school teacher and a member of the church. John White's relationship is going very, very well with Sally, and they end up getting engaged and living together in a town about 13 miles away called Broomfield Township. Again, I don't even know if that's a city because it's a township. They live in the same trailer park as Sally's adult daughter, Rebecca. Rebecca is a 24-year-old single mom of a 3-year-old little boy. Now, John White would often babysit her little boy, would make her dinner during the week, and was very supportive of her. And so Rebecca was very happy for her mom and this fiance she had, and the support that he was kind of acting like a granddad to her son. Well, now we're brought to Halloween 2012. Rebecca doesn't show up for work, and this was unlike her. And this is where I kind of want to take a sidestep, because we always talk about how it's like unlike them. What if you have attendance issues at work and you go missing? It's just okay.
Yeah.
Like, always like, that was unlike them.
Yeah.
But like, what if that was like John was late for work. Oh, that's totally like him.
Totally. Don't worry
And
about
then you
it.
just don't go missing.
No one ever looks for you.
Like always go
He's
to
not
work.
a serial killer. Don't worry.
Go to work because people will account for you. If you're
Yeah, if you don't go to work, no one's gonna look for you.
No.
So have good attendance at work. That's our PSA for today. Else no one will notice you're gone.
No one will know.
Fly under the radar.
So her friends go to check on her house. So her friends go to check her house and they find that her car's there, parked near her trailer, but she isn't answering the door of her trailer and they can't get in. It's all locked up. Her friends reach out to Sally and John because they live nearby and she's reported missing immediately. Now, John White drives all over town looking for Rebecca. He comes into contact with a lot of local shop owners and one local bar owner. And that bar owner says that he comes in a panicked, frantic state and that he has cuts on his face. And that they said that when he came, it didn't feel inauthentic. It just felt almost panicked in the wrong way. And he had all these cuts. So they were like, that was a very weird interaction.
Okay.
And he immediately gets on the horn with his church congregants and starts a phone tree request for prayer because Rebecca's missing as he continues making his rounds and calling everyone in town. Well, one gaping question in this case is I'm reading, I'm like, okay, well, where's her kid? Doesn't she have a 3-year-old son?
Right.
No, he's okay.
Yeah.
No, honestly, he's okay. But
Thank God. Okay.
he's safe with his father. But how did he get to his father? Well, John White had dropped him off earlier on Halloween with his dad, and he was fully dressed in a Halloween costume when John dropped him off to his father on Halloween.
And did he give him any explanation?
Well, John regularly watched her son, so it wasn't abnormal for him to drop him off to the dad.
Was his son supposed to be there on Halloween with him?
I believe so, because it was an arranged meeting.
Okay.
Okay. That was going to be my question.
Yeah. Like, was he expecting him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was ready to go trick or treating, completely dressed in his costume.
So this is premeditation to what he's done.
But absolutely.
Yeah.
Right,
So
okay.
John comes under scrutiny very quickly because a quick background check on him will show what
Finally.
really was going on with him.
Whoa.
It only costs
Yeah.
$15, right?
No,
Pretty
right?
quickly. In some areas, it's free $99 to just look someone's name up and see what's going on with
Right,
them.
that's
So
Yeah, the
they quickly
age
bring
of the
him in,
internet. Yep.
and they
He doesn't-
know he's involved. They're like, then they bring him. You can watch the interview online with him, and they're like, John, the gig is up. Like, you don't have to tell us what you did. Just tell us where the body is. They said, if you love Sally so much, tell us where Rebecca is so that her daughter doesn't decompose and deteriorate in the elements. They kind of went after any bit of humanity that he had left in him, if there was any in John, and it worked. Well,
It
first he was
did?
like, well, I think if you're going to arrest me, I need a lawyer. Actually, I want to make a deal. So his deal was he wanted life without parole and protective custody.
Okay.
Well, if you're
What?
brave enough to go like attack women, you shouldn't be let in jail without protective custody. That's just
Right.
you shouldn't be protected in
Absolutely.
jail. It's like a
Right
free
into
for
the-
all.
They should have lied to
Exactly.
him. They should have lied to him and like, hey, you know what? You'll get life, and check this out. We got slot cars right over here that you can come check out too.
You can have your little racetrack in jail.
Yeah.
Prison cell.
And you go in,
So-
death penalty.
He does go on to explain the event, the night of the events like this. The event of the nights. I don't know what I'm trying to say. He explains what happened that night. He was drinking and he was watching some pornographic material, which catered to those into necrophilia. And he referred them as psycho thrillers, but pornographic psycho thrillers. He drank about 4 to 5 beers, which I don't think that's a large amount to get intoxicated enough to go, be like, this is a good idea. I'm going to go kill my fiance's daughter.
And he's in Michigan still.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're drinking Natty Light. He ain't getting drunk.
No,
Yeah.
right. That's true.
So 4 to 5 beers, and it approaches the early morning hours of October 31st. And he heads over to Rebecca's trailer, walks around it, lets himself in, and he attacks her, first hitting her with a rubber mallet and then strangling her with a zip tie. And he said when he started to strangle her, she was still breathing.
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh, but when you said rubber mallet, I can imagine the Ringling Brothers Circus, the clown.
That big old rubber mallet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a small one.
Okay.
And her son is at the trailer during the
whole
the
time?
murder the whole time during the attack, but he's sleeping in the next area in the trailer. And so he didn't witness anything. He was asleep. And with him, admitting to these crimes, they get him. Sorry, let me get back for that. There's like a big elephant in the room with this. What did he do after she was dead?
Uh-oh.
We can all imagine what he did or what he tried to do. And he said that he wasn't able to do those things and it wasn't as exciting as he thought it would be.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Someone covered in blood with their head bashed in isn't sexy enough for you, guy?
Right?
Yeah. So
he wasn't able to perform, are you saying?
Yes.
Okay.
And he admits that. He seems relatively like he's just very nonchalant in admitting this.
Yeah, he's like, didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
maybe I shouldn't have killed her. My bad.
I know,
yeah.
right?
And then he takes her clothes and her phone and personal items and puts them in a contractor bag and puts them in a dumpster. And then he takes her and he puts her in a remote area.
Oh my God.
Now, with him admitting to these crimes, they are finally able to get him sentenced. He's sentenced to 56 years.
Okay,
He's
good.
55. So it does put him away
He ain't
for
getting
that
out.
time period.
Yeah.
But still, you would think that'd be something that would be like, and you know what? I didn't look it up about Michigan and the death penalty. I didn't, but you would think at least a life sentence, right? I mean, 56 years is a life sentence, but it'd be nice for him to
Right.
hear the words
Yeah.
life sentence, you know,
Yeah.
life without parole,
Yeah.
which he even said, give that to me. That's fine. He was totally in agreement with that.
Yeah.
He admits, I'm a monster.
What the fuck? This guy is twisted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, I personally think he should have been sentenced for that, back in 1980 on
Yeah.
his first attack.
For
And if not with that one, with Vicky, they had a second chance to get him in, but then he was released again. So that's where I talked about Rebecca's attack being entirely avoidable. This man did not need to be out of
He
jail.
shouldn't have been out of jail.
Very true.
No. And I
Very true.
always talk about, I'm a proponent for those with severe mental illness not being in prison. But what I mean by that is being in the proper mental health care facility, not on the street.
Right.
I don't want them released, but they need to be in the right area of
Right.
jail. But as with with several other cases that I've covered, John White is found deceased in his jail cell as a result of suicide on August 28th, 2013, less than a year after his final crime.
Every time.
Coward.
Every
I
time.
was just about to say, like, you put all these people through hell and can't even be a man and own up to your shit. Excuse
No.
me. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
No. So I'm not sad that he's dead, but I really wish that he could have. The thing is, he should have never been out.
He shouldn't have.
He should not
True.
have been out.
No.
True. I agree.
I mean, even stabbing someone 15 times, that's like to only serve 2 years. He should have been in jail. I mean, I understand he didn't murder, so maybe he wouldn't have been life in prison or something, but God, 20 years at least.
Well,
or
the fact that
something. I don't know.
you revoke his sentence because
Yeah.
they didn't choose an insanity plea, I'm very confused on that.
that's just,
That's
that whole
very
thing.
confusing.
They're
Even
like,
if it wasn't-
okay, you are crazy, and they should have said that you were insane. But you know what? Because they didn't, 2 years.
But he had the intent of killing somebody, clearly.
Obvious. Yeah, that's what I would say.
So
Obvious.
how
The
does
first time.
How does that not? How does I'm not making sense. It's frying my brain right now.
No, I was reading this and I was like, wait, the case on Rebecca was terrible enough, but then you hear about what he did previously, and then he was a pastor.
Right.
A pastor.
Right.
Like,
Hey, they like
what?
just as good.
I mean, I understand it was only 14 people, but geez.
But back then, I know they didn't file an insanity plea, but there was no mental condition or any sort of argument as far as a mental issue with this guy. Was that part of a technicality?
I don't believe so. I mean, obviously he was receiving psychological treatment in jail, but you could see how effective that was because he was admitting to them that he wanted to, defile dead bodies, and they were like,
cool. All right.
Mhm.
I'm gonna take a note of that
We'll
real
let you out.
quick.
Don't worry.
yeah,
How does that make you feel?
Yeah.
yeah.
And like they let him out and he didn't even have to do anything on his release mental health wise either. There's no
No.
requirements.
Mm-mm.
Which is
Right. They probably just gave him meds and here, go to sleep. So, I mean, now in 2021, even 2019, you do something like that, you're going to get an allotment of treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
You're going to get some sort of help, guilty or not guilty, or even if you do have a chemical imbalance or a mental illness. So there's an argument, I think, if he would have done that now, as small as saying, well, he's bipolar or schizophrenic.
Right.
Back
Right.
then, it should have been open and closed, like you said. No way.
Mhm.
15 stab wounds.
Mm-mm.
You
How
were
she
trying
lived?
to kill her.
Yeah.
You
Literally,
just didn't
yeah.
do it.
Yes.
You were
Right.
unsuccessful. Why do
Right.
you get a lighter sentence? Because you weren't able to do it. Were
That
you gonna
doesn't-
And
like
there
give
was
you a
no
lighter sentence? You can try again.
He wasn't related or affiliated to anybody in
That was gonna be my next question.
authority. In the
There
authority.
is such limited information on his personal life that I couldn't find anything, and sometimes I try to like search old prison records and stuff like that. I get into that and I couldn't find anything because he died in jail. That's literally doesn't even show like a release date or anything of the sort because
So he
died in jail.
definitely he had some deep pockets then. If you can't really find, again, especially right now in this age, you can find anything about anybody in the click of a button.
Mhm.
Right.
If you can't find that,
You might be right.
Well,
I
maybe
mean-
it's, it could be user error. I'm not saying that I'm the most brilliant digger, but I couldn't find more than,
Yeah.
what I did.
no, I don't know.
Wow.
Because you
It-
you can at least find a death. I was gonna say birth certificate, a death certificate, because we did a case on someone who I was an acquaintance with back in our home in my hometown,
Mhm.
and I was able to see autopsy reports and certain things like that. And she
Mhm.
was a minor at the time.
Mm.
Oh wow.
So I was able to see some of the things. So the fact that this grown ass man doesn't have a lot of things under his name is to me, very suspicious.
Maybe it's just the time too. I mean,
Well, it was 80,
Right.
but then
in the 80s, I don't know.
2007.
Well, I'm just saying maybe those first crimes. It's hurting my head. Sorry. Maybe that's why, because it was in the 80s and just
It could
record
also be
keeping
the
wasn't
small
good.
towns. I mean, he's in Kalamazoo, Michigan, Mount Pleasant, a township. So I'm not sure what kind of experience or who was dealing with the cases, if it was like state troopers or local law enforcement at the time
Mhm.
either. But it kind of just goes radio silent after he commits suicide.
Wow.
Well, just the
Jeez.
whole time. I mean, he probably was a sociopath, and he probably knew exactly what he can get rid of. And like you said, it's such a podunk town. They're not going to have records. What they have back then, fish tape or
Right.
newspaper articles.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
No,
don't know. I can't say that
yeah.
he planned it. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is just baffling to me. I just don't know how you admit to a psychologist. And I understand psychologists like work under confidentiality issues, but if they say that you're a harm to others, they have to say something.
Right.
And he
Right.
literally
Yeah.
tells multiple people what he wants to do to women.
But again, that's something we deal with. We see in cases a lot is that things don't get reiterated to the right people.
Mhm.
Like they don't communicate with each other properly, and then things get missed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In the system. So
Or missed on purpose. Yeah, I still think that there's somebody helping him out there.
possible.
It just sounds too suspicious.
right.
Yeah.
Was he part of a big family? Do you know? Brothers?
No
sisters?
idea.
Nothing?
No idea.
Damn.
Mm.
Well, he has a very common name. So if I put John White in or
That's
John
true.
Douglas White, I have like politicians popping up from
Yeah.
like other areas because they all have the same name. So it could have been lost in there somewhere. But even like the Discovery Plus episode doesn't talk about where he came from, really.
Right.
They start at 22.
Really?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I would like to know the backstory on that guy.
Yeah.
Real.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see why it'd be hard to find because that is such a
John
common name.
Douglas White.
John White.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like
Huh.
John Smith.
Yeah.
John Smith. Yeah.
So that wraps up our Halloween.
Well, like we always like
Cases.
to say, no, thank you, Cody, for that Halloween terrible story.
Terrible.
That's terrible.
Terrible.
It doesn't even have to be gory. It can be just as simple as this case, how you read it. It's disturbing enough how he got away with it more than
Right.
gory.
More so than
Yeah.
the case
Mhm.
in general.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
No,
just
it's true.
legit. Yeah, that's what's scary. Not so much, the supernatural and paranormal stuff. It's the actual human error
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
because it can happen.
Totally agree.
That can legitimately happen.
To anybody.
I like it. I like
Yeah.
it.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for letting me tell it.
Thank you.
Of
Absolutely.
course.
Absolutely. Are you ready for our story?
I'm ready to listen.
Yay.
All right.
Okay.
All right,
Keep it
Jim.
for
go
wine.
Take a
blow it.
little swig here.
I already
Yeah,
finished
me
mine.
So our story is not necessarily taking place on Halloween. However, they do have face paint. So I
Ah.
thought it'd be a little,
You're on theme.
fun thing to do to have to go on brand.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm sorry. Nothing fucks me up like face paint or like a clown. Like, nope.
And see, I'm not a clown guy, but this I'm okay with. But I'm looking at the black reflection in my phone, and I keep going, oh, like that every so often.
No, it's a little jarring every time I looked at it. I'm like,
Especially like the cross. Is that a cross on your forehead? That's
It
like,
is.
Woo! Oh yeah. See,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
my wife saw that. And she was like, "What the fuck is that?"
What are you doing, and who are you
You're like,
talking to?
it adds to it.
Well, there's the reason it's a death metal band,
Yes.
Norwegian death metal. So I don't know if you're familiar with Norwegian death metal or dark metal. They have the white face, they have the big ripping guitars and the big drum sets. So and
The
they
very
don't speak,
deep
they growl.
guttural sounds. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I can't say that I'm super familiar with
No,
that.
I kind of am. My husband once in a while listens to that. Not
Really?
like sometimes. Like
She's wilding out in the car when I'm not
as much
around.
anymore, but like college years age, she would listen to a lot of that. Now we have kids, and it's like a little inappropriate to have that on around them. But I know what you're talking about. And that stuff, it's like creepy sounding. Like,
it's very creepy.
As a matter of fact, if you go back to not our most recent Instagram story, but one that I shared with you saying that we're going to be recording tonight.
Yeah.
That's
what you're playing.
That's one of their songs.
Okay.
So that's kind of like a little hint without letting people know.
Okay.
I like it.
So in 1984, hair metal was everywhere. It's taken over the U.S. and pretty much the world. Bands
Poison,
like
baby.
Exactly. Twisted Sister, Poison, Motley Crue, and so much more. She's my cherry pie.
Yep.
But not many people knew of Mayhem. Now they were on a whole nother spectrum of metal and of rock and roll. The bandmates, who keep in mind the bandmates did change over the years, so I'll give you the starting off bandmates. And I apologize ahead of time for the names.
Just give the nicknames.
Okay, yeah, let's just do that.
Yeah,
there you go.
Just give the nicknames.
Don't mispronounce things. You know, people will ride your ass for that.
Have already gotten on us about mispronouncing. I'm like, I'll take full responsibility. I'm horrible at pronouncing things. Like,
I am.
When we did the Delphi murder, they rip us up and down. We got the most views out of that, but I was like, man, I don't know if that's good.
A good thing or a bad thing.
Hey, it got people talking.
Yeah.
Oh, it did.
It did. They're actually still talking.
Yeah. So we have drummer Mannheim, the guitar and vocals Euronymous, bass as Necro Butcher.
Ooh.
And those were the
I
first...
think we just talked about him. Sorry to interrupt you, but I think we just talked about him.
John
White, is that you, bud? I came to the Norwegian side.
The calling to you. Mayhem needed me.
Now this band, obviously, like most bands starting off, they had a very rough and patchy start, having to go through several years of different band members, such as Maniac, Dead. That was someone's name. Dead.
That was their nicknames. Yeah.
And a few others. Now, although small to most people who jammed out to metal, Mayhem was huge on the underground scene.
Which would be Norway. Dark, almost acoustic, and I mean, it's kind of hard not to want to play it for you, but if you get a chance, type in Mayhem on YouTube and you'll hear one of their songs. It's actually a big production.
It's very big.
Very dark music.
Yeah.
Head cuts and audio, distorted audio, and more. In 1988, Mayhem left the band and was replaced by John X. Axel Bloomberg, nickname Hellhammer. Maniac also left within the same year and was replaced by a 17-year-old Sweden artist by the name of Dead, D-E-A-D. So Dead, we're talking about Dead. Dead had a dark and menacing voice, thus changing the foundation of black metal. Dead was really strange dude with darkness in him, obviously. One of the other band members said this is his description of Dead. His demo tape consists of letters of failure and Polaroids of decomposing rats. That was his audition material.
Oh.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, dude's
in an interview with Necro Butcher, explained how happy he was in comparison to Dead. Necro enjoyed living and making music, whereas Dead was in a deep state of depression. It would constantly sleep with dead animals under him because he liked the smell of dead flesh. Literally under
Ew.
his bed or under his pillow, he would have all these decomposing animals because
Oh.
he enjoyed it.
This is
Ha-
real.
How did he get these animals? Do we know? Did he kill them or
From what I've read,
roadkill?
he would literally go, yeah, exactly, roadkill, or he would go out and find something of his own,
Yeah.
and just bring it in. If a rat trap had a rat in it, he'd throw it under his bed. The fact that this dude sat there and said, I want to know the smell of death.
That was his driving force. That to him, that was his way of being motivated to become this dark artist by smelling death.
That's like
that's
like Daniel Day-Lewis getting into his method acting to be like, oh,
Right.
I'm gonna
That's
be
good.
this. I'm gonna be Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I totally get it. That was like his way to get into character almost.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking twisted.
You think Bath and Body Works has that set?
Dead animal.
Like a wallflower of like death.
Here we have our dead rats and we have our dead rabbits. In 1990, Mayhem grew to a completely different level of entertainment due solely on Dead. He put on face paint. So before this, they were just real, like my dad was saying, they had the real deep guttural growls, the crazy riffs on their guitar, but then he started putting on face paint. And on top of that, while doing all this, the face paint and everything else, he would also perform self-harm on stage.
Oh, geez.
So that's kind of like what's the
Gigi.
That's his name. Yeah. Bandmates were actually concerned with Dead's actions. And what's funny about all that is this band that we're talking about too were also Satan worshipers.
And they're concerned. They're like, something's going on with him.
Exactly.
That's not right.
Yeah,
This is too much. He's too much.
Worshippers are concerned.
Yeah,
I mean,
like,
we draw a line somewhere.
Right. They have morals.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's too much, guys.
There's a
Dead's-
stipulation. Got it.
Yeah, it's pretty strange that you're like, this is the devil that we're talking about. Whoa, man, you just touch your hand? Come on.
Yeah.
Don't do that, guy. You get blood all over the guitar.
Yeah. There's like a lot of money for this stuff.
Yeah.
Let's not ruin it.
Now, most of the members
That's
would
a
ask.
good point because their performances were usually way out of budget and they could never really afford them.
Yeah.
So they never got paid for gigs.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the band members would ask Dead to stop being so negative and down all the time. What?
Wow. Okay.
Except the lead guitarist, Euronymous. Such a sweet boy.
A nice guy.
Euronymous. Just a nice guy. Yeah. Dead and Euronymous got on each other's nerves, however, and very often. The two fist fought, they argued, and there was even a rumor one time that Dead stabbed Euronymous once while living together.
I believe it. 100%.
Probably over
I
face
believe it.
paint.
Please. You guys use all the white. Come on.
Fuck, man. I can't even cover my chin now.
It's just from here down. Just here down.
Euronymous was the aggressor of all of the fights, according to bandmates, and Euro often told Dead to end his life on multiple occasions.
Way to motivate.
For real.
Okay, many people by now know that bands usually don't last with the original members. Exceptions, U2, ZZ Top, and Aerosmith. Technically, they've lasted a pretty long time.
Decades.
Yeah, decades.
I mean, Steven Tyler's got to be at least 85 by now, right?
Jesus.
Yeah, he's.
I thought he was 100.
He just keeps going.
All of them, really. And the biggest thing is bands, especially, don't last as long. The original members when they lived together. Well, these guys, they went ahead and moved into a small home way outside of Sweden in a little. It was really no running water or anything. There was just
like a little cabin
studio.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of like your old dad's shed. Just a real small place where they can grind music.
Right.
So Hellhammer, one of the band members, stated Dead would be in his room just really depressed. Some today may say that he was suffering from a mental illness or condition. On April 8th, 1991, Dead was home alone while the others members were out doing whatever they were doing.
Yeah, they were just
This was
out.
the day Dead died by suicide.
Okay.
Now, this is where the shit gets graphic. Jim typed that. I didn't. Dead wrote.
Thanks for the warning.
Dead wrote in an odd suicide letter, "Excuse the blood. I belong in the woods and have always done so. No one will understand the reason for this anyway. To give some semblance of an explanation, I'm not human. This is just a dream, and soon I will not wake." Dead used a sawed-off shotgun, aimed it at his face, and pulled the trigger.
Oof.
That's how he killed himself.
That's
Wow.
gotta be
Before
really
calling
graphic.
police, I'm sure it was. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if you have firearms, but a sawed-off shotgun in the face is you're not going to have anything left.
It gets ripped off, just gone.
Right. That's what I was
Mhm.
gonna say. You don't got anything left after that.
No.
And I'm
Well,
sure they're not really surprised by this because he seemed like he had tendencies to maybe be.
So it's not that they were
we haven't
surprised.
got
Yeah.
to the sick part of it yet.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're
okay.
getting there.
It's what
Got it.
other band member does that's kind of more disturbing than that.
Dead is dead.
Before calling
Mhm.
police, Euronymous left the house to get disposable cameras to take photos of Dead's body for memories. This is Euronymous. This is his buddy, his
I put it in
bandmate.
our scrapbook
Yeah.
to look back on later.
Frame
I'm
it.
putting this on Pinterest later, guys.
Yeah.
Speaking of Pinterest, this is what Mr. Dead or Euronymous did. He also used pieces of Dead's skull to make a necklace.
Oh.
What?
Find that on Pinterest. Yeah.
Mm.
He even took a portion of Dead's exposed brain and made stew of it.
Wait, he ate his brain?
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben.
So even though Dead was the really dark, he probably had a condition. You know,
Yeah.
he
Right.
probably sought comfort in his sorrow and his misery.
Mhm.
But Euronymous was the twisted effort.
Then on February 28th, 1990, Dead's body became, this is where it gets also crazy, an album cover for the band.
Wait, his dead body?
So with that disposable camera that Euronymous took of Dead's dead body, took a picture, had it developed, because this is back in the 90s. Everything wasn't
Yeah.
ready with the cell phone, younger than 30 years old
Can you
people.
imagine the poor developer of that film?
No, at all.
He's just some 15-year-old teenager
Working at Walgreens, CVS.
Yeah.
He's
And
like,
he's
"Oh."
a Swedish dude. You know that they're like nice. I'm just going to make some photos, and then oh my gosh,
What is
Stefan, what is this?
this?
Stefan. So yes, his dead body became the album cover for Mayhem Live: Dawn of the Black Hearts. Now,
Wow.
what's even crazier is that there is a big demand for albums, specifically vinyl.
Mhm.
There's a link, which I have, which I don't even know if I should even put it out there, but I have the link on this document.
Uh-huh.
But someone has that link, and she is selling it for $250.
Mm.
Wow.
It's one of the original copies.
Wow.
That's also including shipping. So
Okay.
What a deal. No, I'm
yeah, what a
There you
deal.
go.
I mean, when
I
when
mean-
you throw that in, I mean, how could you
Yeah.
pass that up?
I feel like it almost seems not that as high as I would have thought, just because it's so crazy. I don't know. Is that weird?
Well,
for me to
well,
think
she
that?
has it on like
Well-
a bidding site. So if
Oh,
if
so he
click
could
the
go
link,
higher.
It can go.
Right.
It can go to $500, $600, even $1,000
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
What was that one site? Backpage. Backpage was, even though it was a lot of it was for
Prostitution,
dating.
right?
Yes, but there was a lot of what was the one guy out of San Francisco? He had
The
he
doodler.
basically was a heroin addict. No, he was
Uh-oh.
a heroin dealer. He would sell heroin online.
What?
Heroin, mushrooms, any drug you wanted, illegal, legal,
Mhm.
didn't matter. He actually found a way to sell all. He was a drug dealer, an internet drug dealer, and they just recently shut him down, like within the last 5 years.
a lot of human trafficking was happening through Backpage too, through what I've come across.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. I don't like those stories, especially when they involve kids. Anything that has to do with hurting a kid or a woman, it's just I tell this guy not to bring those stories anymore.
But then he tells me and I get cringy, so I have to kind of relay the, pay it forward.
Well, I'm so happy I could have shared my story with you today that I'm sure you really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
15 times stabbing. I just don't know how you can. I played competitive sports. I wrestled. I boxed. I know how it is to hit somebody or to wrestle somebody and get slammed and slammed. There's always a no. There's a or a ow. There's a repercussion of your movement. And for him not to have any emotion stabbing her 15, it's making my hair stand up on my arms.
Right.
That is the worst. That somebody doesn't show any compassion for even an animal.
Other than the shipping included for the vinyl album. In an interview in 2005, Necro Butcher tells in the conversation that he had with Euro just after he found Dead. Euronymous said, Dead has done something really cool. He killed himself.
Yeah.
Real
Exclamation.
Cool.
Necro Butcher
responds.
Cool. Necro Butcher responds with, "What do you mean cool? What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Right.
Thank you, Necro Butcher, for being sensible.
I would think Necro Butcher would be the sensible one in the situation.
Euronymous said, "Relax. I have photos of everything." Necro Butcher responded with, "Don't fucking call me before you destroy every one of those pictures. Jesus Christ."
Right.
And that was it.
And then it ended up being their album cover.
And it ended up being their album cover.
A
live album cover too. So
I feel like Necro Butcher was full of shit. He would try to call him like, "Don't do that." But then, okay, you can make it.
You can maybe make some money
photo
from
on
it.
that album.
Well,
Now,
see, here's the thing with all this story we're telling, they actually still perform.
Yeah, they do actually.
Even with this backstory, they still have an audience.
Yeah, and
How
it's not
twisted is that? I don't
some of them are still in this band. Actually, as a matter of fact, one of them is Necro Butcher himself. He's one of the lead vocals.
I'm sorry, Necro Butcher. There's no offense to anything. I just no, disclaimer. Just don't.
Now, Euro then used his bandmate's death to his advantage and create a fake story for Dead's death, telling the others the reason Dead died was because black metal became, quote, too trendy, too mainstream. Thus, Dead couldn't take it anymore and blew his lid, literally, end quote.
Wow.
And in reality, Dead was actually very different than Necro Butcher. He focused more on the success. He might have been a dark individual, but he did have some sort of an idea to progress with the band. Dead was more focused on growing and becoming more popular. Using Dead's fake story, Euro was able to open a record shop called Helvete, Hell in Norwegian, in 1991 and created a record label calling it Death Like Silence.
Wow.
Funny, he opened a store based off his very thing Dead wanted and Euro disliked about him. That I don't understand, but I'll keep reading on.
He opened up the store to make them more popular. And he didn't want it to be too mainstream. He didn't want it to go out. He wanted it to be underground and all this. But then you open up a store, thus drawing in more
commercial
people to go.
You
Exactly.
want to be commercial.
Exactly.
All right, got it. Euronymous found more members to join the broken up Mayhem group. Guitar was got a name by Blackthorn. Vocals was a guy named Attila. All Euro needed was a bass guitarist.
Now, this is where the Mayhem Cult comes into play. Now, they're not like a big cult like Heaven's Gate or Jim Jones or anything like that. They're more of a kind of like the 14-person church group. So things started getting.
Could have been a cult.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Things started to get a little bit weirder in 1992 when Euro began to be the leader of this small black metal cult. They met at that record store, Helveta, and he would make rules for people who wanted to form their own black metal band. Now they again, this guy was weird because he had structure, but he was very twisted.
Mm.
So one of the main rules was to give yourself to Satan.
Okay.
This is also what Euro, or excuse me, when I say Euro, I mean Euronymous.
Yeah.
This is what he would tell the people. If a band cultivates and worships Satan, it's black metal. In a way, it can be ordinary heavy metal or just noise. What's most important is that it's satanic. That's what makes it black metal. This is what he said in an interview in 1992.
It's like church music, but
yeah,
for the like the opposite of church music.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
There's a band called Merciful Fate back in the 80s when I was in high school, and they actually did their foundation was church style music, but they were into dark art like this. So,
crazy
history.
Interesting.
Now it got to a point where Euro began making rules for even the fans. If they weren't worthy, then they couldn't even buy their music.
Well, how would they know that though?
Well,
yeah.
This is what Euro said. Only 25 people, 25. That's just what, 9 more of the small church that you guys just talked about.
Yeah.
Deserve to own our music. The rest are a bunch of idiots.
Wow.
So he literally wanted, again, the way that this dude's mind process went is, I want to stay small, but I'm thinking big. You know what I mean?
Right.
25 is an overachievement.
Yeah. And then followers began to see Euro as a god in the black metal community, and others just really thought he was an asshole because they wanted to listen to the music. They wanted to be a part of the group.
And he wouldn't let them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, it's my part, but I got a really bad dad joke after it, so I'm gonna read. The same year, another member joined the band. I'm not gonna say his name. I'm gonna say his nickname, Count Greshnaken.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that guy. He wanted what Euro had: money and to be the leader of the Mayhem Mini Cult.
Sorry to interrupt, but how does he have money if he only lets 25 people listen to his music?
Because now
he's not.
Yeah, they're still not making music from their music. He opened up this record store where he obviously sells their music, but he has other music there too. It's not like he's got like, he's not Drake running around with freaking bands of hundreds. He's got like a couple hundred. Oh, I don't know what the Norwegian dollar is, but this dude's not rich.
Okay,
but to count, is it a euro? It might be. But to count, he's like, oh, he has more money than I have.
Gotcha.
That's what I want.
Count hatched a plan to make the black metal music more popular by giving an interview to a Swedish news channel, saying Mayhem, he's talking shit about the band, will be known worldwide and Satan would be right along for the ride, their ride or die. During this time, Count was suspected of lighting a string of Christian churches on fire. Along Norway, there was ever a rumor of Count killing someone in the town of Lillehammer. Now, this is my bad joke. Okay. What else is Lillehammer known for? Anybody? 1984 Olympics?
No. Oh.
1984 Olympics?
Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan.
That was in 80.
That was 84.
94.
94. Oh, 94. Oh, okay. I thought you said 84. So
honestly, if he had said 94, I still wouldn't have gotten it either, but I knew that about that happening.
You know the story about Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan, right?
Nancy Kerrigan.
Okay, this happened in Lillehammer, Sweden, right?
Okay.
Okay, now here's a bad dad joke.
Ready for it.
What did Tanya Harding use to hit Nancy Kerrigan?
A little hammer.
There it is. A little hammer. That's the bad dad, and that's an actual joke. I actually found that on the internet. Ta-da! All right, go ahead, son. It's
so
kind of ironic, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. So Count didn't actually admit to the responsibility of any of these arsons, although he did support them. After the interview, black metal bands were we're under a microscope now. So the police of the Norwegian, the state police, they're seeing other black metal bands other than Mayhem, the much smaller ones, and they're going after them now. They're thinking, okay, you guys are doing this arson run, especially with Count backing it up.
Right.
Now Euro felt all of the glory and the popularity shift from him to Count as he basically confessed during an interview. And this caused yet another major conflict between the two bandmates, Euro and Count. And now with black metal on the mainstream media outlets and news coverages and under the police watch, Euro decided that he needed to end Count's climb to success. And in this year of 1992, on August 10th or 12th, there's kind of conflicting info, a fight broke out between Count and Euro. As a result, Euronymous ended up dead. Much like your story, Euronymous was stabbed 23 times.
Wow.
So he got stabbed.
He got
even
stabbed.
though he wanted to end Count.
Yeah.
Yes, he got stabbed 23 times, twice in the head, 5 times in the neck, and 16 times in his back.
Oh, man.
Count claimed, he
died.
He died.
And by the way, Count, the other guy, claimed that this was self-defense.
Did Count have any like stab wounds or anything going on with him?
He had a couple bruises and stuff, but Count actually, from one of the articles that I found, he was the one who went and grabbed the knife and then attacked him.
Well, 23 is just not self-defense. I mean, 1, 2 is self-defense. 23 is a little excessive.
Right.
A little bit.
And did Count know that Euro wanted to end him too?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was his defense, because he said Count wanted to film a torture and snuff film.
Oh.
So that was his comeback for him.
So this
to
is
stab
why I
him
did
so
it.
many times.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
This is
Okay.
a mess.
Yeah.
It is. It really
Damn,
is.
needs some help. Ooh.
And that they're still performing. Like I said, you can actually
yeah.
you can type it in, and I mean the music you don't understand because they're literally growling. They're growling. You know, they're like, oh, you know.
Yeah.
Like
You
that.
don't even
That's
know
actually what it sounds like.
No.
Yeah.
And you know, the guitar player has, 23 to 24 piece drum set with the Timbs and double foot, the bass for the double foot like Lars plays on Metallica. So you can't understand shit, but they're extremely popular. They're not very rich. They just have a following.
Yeah.
Obviously. Count was ultimately arrested after the neighbors called and made reports of fighting. On May 16th, 1994, Count, original name Varg, was sentenced to 21 years in prison, charges murdering Euro, 3 arsons, 1 attempted arson, and 50 counts of theft and storage of over 330 pounds of explosives.
Wow.
And when this guy was sentenced, he kindly stood up and walked away, and he turned around to the camera and smiled. He was happy with what he had achieved.
It's like
A little disturbing. Yeah, I did it. I made it. I didn't make it as a bandmate, but hell, I'm one hell of a
fucking
serial killer.
Criminal.
But that's
Murderer?
and that's just like the Night Stalker, with him going Hail Satan and wearing the glasses and the Miami Vice look.
Puts on a show.
Exactly. So this is what happened too. They only had very limited cameras in the courtroom when this happened, and literally, like he just said, when they announced it and they were walking him away, he literally turned and did like a Norman Bates smile at the end of Psycho, just really same thing like John Smith White,
whatever his name is.
He just
John
didn't
David
care.
White.
There you go. He just didn't care. And to this day, the band is still formed with the current lineup of Necro Butcher, Hellhammer, Attila, Tolic, and for whatever reason, they just decided not to give Charles a nickname.
That's all their name, and then there's a Charles.
That's the name.
Chuck on bass.
Guitar, actually.
A guitar. Okay. So it's Necro Butcher and Hellhammer. They're the OGs, right?
They're the OGs.
One of the original. Yeah.
Yeah, Hellhammer
Messiah.
is on drums. Necro Butcher is bass. Attila's vocals. Tulloch is guitar, and Chuck is also on guitar.
Charles. I hope they at least call him Chuck. Like there needs to be something going on.
Yeah.
Charles.
I wonder what that interview process was like. What is your evil name? Chuck. Charles. Just
quick,
Charles.
Charles.
Yeah.
Charles. The people call me Chuck. I mean, sometimes.
I mean, it's not hard if you wanted to like fit in with them. You just have to think of a death name. It's not that difficult.
It's really not.
But no, you don't have to.
I guess not.
Like my name is.
Yeah, they could give him Manson. You know.
Yeah.
That's his name, Manson. Right. That would help. But yeah, I mean, even as of 2021 July, just 3 months ago, they had another release.
Yeah.
Called Atelvix Black Disorder, or called Commando.
Oh.
Yeah. Crazy.
Wow.
But that was the story of the black metal band Mayhem.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not going to go to their next like live concert when COVID is like open. I don't
this
think
face
I'm
paint.
going to go.
And right.
No,
Right.
I don't think my hat would work.
I
actually might.
I can actually pull it. I mean, if you want to see it, you don't, but I can pull it up.
What are you going to pull
the
up?
album cover?
The album cover. Yeah.
I want to see it.
Okay.
Yeah. Cody.
All right. I like this. I'm to be real. I'm morbid like that. I like to see like what you're talking about because that's just crazy to me.
There is one detail
that might be a little terrifying to me.
There is one detail that I did leave out. However, that is that he not only blew his head off, but he also was cutting his entire arm, and I'll show you when I pull it up. So
what do you mean? That wasn't in the story.
No, I know, and I just because I didn't see it. Elite, my wife pointed that out to me. I showed her today. She was like, "Why? What's up with this face paint stuff?" And I showed her the image. I'm like, "This is what this guy did." And then she's like, "Well, wait a minute, that's a knife next to him." And I'll pull up the picture right now. And she's like,
"That's what I do during scary movies."
There we go.
That's the album cover.
That's the album cover. So I didn't notice that is a knife.
Oh yeah.
I didn't notice that. So when I first saw it, I was like, "Holy shit, that's crazy!" But then you look over at his arm. Look at his arm.
Yeah.
He sliced his arm completely.
It's never a mannequin.
How did they get away with using that as an arm cover? As an album cover.
As an album cover. I have no idea.
Like how is that?
That is literally
it's sold as a sticker. For $2.50.
Yeah, look at that
sticker size, 3x3.
You can buy that and stick it on your microphone. I don't know.
Yep.
Put it on your refrigerator as a reminder of what we're having for dinner.
Yeah. But crazy, and that's his brain.
That's terrify my poor children.
That's his brain right there.
That's his brain right there. If you didn't know,
it fell out of his head.
Stop.
And that's what they made the stew out of.
Oh God, I forgot about that part.
Did Necro say he ate the stew or no?
Yeah, he made a stew out of it.
How is he not like in trouble for anything?
Because he
maybe it's not against the law.
So wait, Necro made a stew or Euro made a stew?
No.
Somebody made a freaking stew. Who was the cook?
Yeah. That was, I'll tell you right now.
You just said it's not against the law, but I don't know. It's not like eating people is not against the law in Sweden.
It was Euronymous.
Euronymous, yeah.
Okay.
Made a skull necklace.
Yeah.
Pieces of a skull. And he made a stew of
so Necro, we don't think ate the stew.
We don't condone cannibalism, Euro. Okay.
What does Euronymous mean? Does it mean something that I'm supposed to know that it means something?
Google it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to see pictures of this guy.
I know.
This guy. How do you Euronymous?
Oh, EURONYMOUS.
What the hell am I doing?
It's actually a plant.
Oh.
Ugh.
There he is.
Oh, but his name is Oystein Arseth.
Yeah, that's why we
better known by
stick with the nickname.
Yeah,
right.
What does
I was having a hard time reading regular. I couldn't speak. I couldn't say his damn name.
No.
But yeah, that's the story of the face painted Mayhem. And I've actually, what's funny is I've had this one in the arsenal for some time now, and it was really great that we were able to get you two on and talk about it. I mean, not that we're celebrating death or anything, but the Halloween theme behind it.
Yeah.
So
Anyhow,
thank you very much for
Thank you
for
guys.
coming
Thank
on.
you. This was
For,
great.
for everyone who's watched and or listened this far, where can everybody find you, listen to you at?
Cody's good at this. Go for it.
Oh, I'm
Cody.
good at this. Okay.
Yes.
Right. You can find us on anywhere you listen to podcasts. We're Over the Fence True Crime Podcast. You can also find us on Instagram at Over the Fence _podcast. We have a TikTok. I only post to it when the mood strikes me. Haven't done that in a while, but otherwise we're just wherever you can see podcasts. This is our YouTube debut.
Is it really? You've never had a
We've never done a YouTube
We've never
before.
done a YouTube on. No. Just
What do you
in
mean
general.
on? You've made other
No.
YouTube videos?
No, I haven't. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what kind of YouTube. Actually, those sites that we were talking about earlier. Just kidding. She's the star. No, we've never done YouTube before. Yeah, we've never. I think we've only shown our faces a handful of times on our even Instagram.
On Instagram, yeah. Today we did it. That was not. Awesome
I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
that's where you can find us.
Yeah.
Thank you for
guys.
for coming on. Thank you for talking to us. This definitely, like you said, was a long time in the making.
Yeah.
And
you guys started, I think, doing this when
right
we
around the
start
same
right around
time.
the same time.
Right
after, when
yeah.
the pandemic started. He
Yeah.
started doing it himself. And I just happened to Google my name for something. I can't remember. I was laying down and my wife asked me something and I Googled my name and it came up with his big round chubby face. And I'm like, hey,
what are you doing? What is it?
Hey, isn't that our son? And I'm
What are
showing
you
my
up
wife
to?
the phone. And she's like, his nickname is Bo, but his actual real nickname was Boog, Boog. I go, isn't that Boog? And she's like, yeah, what the hell is he doing? And then him and his wife came over one day and we're like, hey, you got a podcast now? And he's like, yeah, but no one's listening. I said, well, just keep at it, dude. Just keep doing your little thing.
Yeah.
And then at the time I was doing some stuff for him and the boys, him and his brothers.
Yeah.
Long story short, I was
recording videos
videos of myself talking to them. And the reason why I was doing that is my wife, his mother, has had 5 deaths in the family within the last 5 years.
Very recent. Yeah.
So the biggest thing I would hear her say or her friends were, I just wish I could talk to my dad one more time. Or I just wish I could hold my mom one more time. So me being bored at home, I was like, you know what? I don't want my kids to ask that. So I'm going to leave my cell phone to them and I'm just going to talk about everyday things.
Yeah.
So when he asked me to do it, I think I was like 3 videos in and I was like, yeah, son, I'll be a part of your podcast. This is what I was doing anyway. So I was like, and so now you'll have these recordings, like you'll have your recording with your dad.
Yeah.
You know, and you can hear in your voice, you could hear the little girl in your voice talking to dad. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Totally.
Loved it. And you've got her attention like, really? The ghost? And you went over there again with your husband? Whatever happened with that house? Do you know?
The house that I grew up in?
Yeah.
My husband has family that lives right around the corner. So I don't know if I talked about that on there when we went there afterwards and we had like animals die and stuff. No, I drive by there all the time because one of my cousins lives over there and it's just like been I don't know. I don't know if they still know it's haunted, but there's still people there.
Yeah.
It's just at like this 4-way, this in a neighborhood in Concord.
That's
crazy.
That's it's a little much.
So that's how I got in doing podcasting with him. And then he asked me, and like I said, it's fun for me. And these recordings he's gonna have forever. And then my grandbabies are gonna be, her voice. She does the intro for our podcast.
Oh, I love it.
So we
that might have to change soon because we're gonna have 2 of them now. So
when are you having another one?
Next month, December.
Oh, like
December.
right around the corner.
Yeah,
right around the corner.
Right around the corner. Yeah,
that's exciting.
Congratulations.
That is exciting.
Awesome.
So I wanted to say I wanted to say, one of the episodes I was watching of you, we were talk about how you've gone back to work and you're commuting and everything. And I think it's something to be said of the smaller podcasts that keep at it. We don't have a full staff behind us. We are just everyday people. And me and Molly both have jobs. We're both moms. Our wives, our husbands have jobs. And so we have to fit it in where we can. And, and I just think it's something to be said that, you keep at it. And, it's
not easy.
No, it's not easy. And, these bigger podcasts, they're like, look what everything that I get done before 7 a.m. And I'm like,
yeah,
they've got Shadow Ride. They've got all the, but my biggest, the one that I really like, and I don't know if it was a Instagram post or a picture that maybe Molly took. You were cooking and editing at the same time.
Oh yeah. Cody sent that to
right?
me. Yeah.
I was like, this is why I like them. This is I mean, to you guys are my local celebrity. Growing up, I had MC Hammer. Right now, I have Over the Fence.
Nice.
Yay.
So it was exciting when he finally said we're gonna do Over the Fence. I was like, really? I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous. All the other ones we had, I was like, man, I think that's why I was choking up on the reading. I was a little nervous.
Oh gosh. Cody every other day was texting me, are you nervous?
Are you nervous? I'm nervous. Are you nervous? And like, that's why I think last year you had mentioned, hey, we should do something together. I was like, oh, no, I'm not ready.
Yeah.
For that. I mean, it took me months to show my face.
Yeah.
Then it took me months to it's just, it's me. It's not her. It's not her. It's me.
Right.
It's totally me.
In general, it's hard. You're vulnerable. I mean, no matter what, it's like hard to get criticism. We don't get a ton of criticism. What we do, it hurts. You're kind of like, well, that's sucked,
Apparently, we're 60-year-old
Valley girls.
6-year-old Valley girls. 60-year-old Valley girls.
That one actually made me laugh. I love that.
Yeah,
one,
I couldn't get mad at that.
That's what's a comment someone left us on our reviews. We sounded like 6-year-old Valley girls. We're like, okay,
sure.
I told my wife, I was like, my wife's in Hawaii right now, so I told her not to call while we were recording. And I said, this is so and so. They're over the fence, and I was trying to give them a picture of you guys, and she's like, really? They're from the Bay Area? I said, yeah, babe. They know the word hella. She's like, yeah, they know about rap. They know about Tupac. They know they're from the Bay.
Yeah.
It's like, really? I said,
born and raised.
Exactly. So yeah, like I said, you guys are my local idols.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate that.
So
well, just thanks for doing what you're doing, and just kudos to you, because we know it's not easy to keep coming up with stuff. We got
it's not.
This guy was getting burned out. I mean, I could tell in his voice.
We all go through it for sure.
Me and Molly had a drunken conversation where Molly said, I'm so afraid you're just gonna want to quit one day. And I said, me too.
Right, one day we're just be like, this is just too much. But honestly, for us, we're really good friends. We were neighbors for 6 years, and this is fun for us. You know what I mean? It's enjoyable. She comes over at 10 o'clock at night. We drink wine and we laugh our asses off between takes of us recording a podcast. It's fun. You know what I mean? So we keep doing it because we're enjoying it. You know?
Exactly. And that's why we do it. And like I said, he'll have these things the stuff that we have off that's not produced to put on the 1 hour show. That's the importance. That's more important than the show. Right. I mean, we're interacting with people. And like I said, I will go back and listen to podcasts. Even if you guys took a month, 2 months off, I would still listen to all your old stuff. I listened to it today.
Yep.
I listened to it driving. You guys are on my, playlist.
Oh, thanks.
We'll have to know when it's going to be a Tuesday night, though. We can release one with soothing sounds because he uses to go to sleep.
ASMR.
No, you keep trying to do ASMR and that's nasty.
No, don't do that.
It doesn't have to be nasty.
It's nasty.
It's just nasty in general. Doesn't matter what it is.
And when I edit sometimes when we're a little
mouthy,
thick, and I'm like, oh God.
I've had
ASMR.
This has been fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm glad we did it. And I apologize if I got a little choked up. But like
you're
I said,
fine. We had a great time.
You guys are local celebrities to me.
Yes.
Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you.
This is awesome. Thank you so much, ladies.
All right. We'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.
Yes.
Happy Halloween, by the way.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Halloween.